Hello and welcome to MorningFile. I'm your host, Emma McCarty, and today I am joined with Jeremy Freiburger from the Music Hall at New Vision. So to start, did you want to talk about the Music Hall, its development and purpose within the community?
Sure. Yeah. So the music hall is it's located at Main and McNabb, right downtown Hamilton, and it was originally built in 1868 as the Centenary United Church. And it since has been a couple of different churches, and now it's the New Vision Church. And it's been on the radar of Hamilton's music scene since about 2016. There was a big event here held here called Welcome to Hamilton. It was that was headlined by the National to raise money for Syrian refugees moving to Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
And so a huge concert. And since then has been used for dozens and dozens of different concerts. Supercrawl's used it a bunch of times in Sonic Onion and Collective Arts. And so the church, as it was sort of thinking about its role in the community, it's a small congregation, so they didn't need the huge space of the auditorium, which seats 1,000 people, but kept seeing this interest from the music community. So for the last couple of years, they've been working with my organization, Cobalt Connects, to help develop the business model to turn the upper floor into a full-on concert hall. So we've got all the architectural plans done for that and capital campaign in motion to revitalize this space as a much-needed large-scale concert hall in downtown Hamilton.
Yeah, awesome. So the Music Hall Do Well by Hamilton campaign launched back in September. So what's the goal of the campaign then?
Sure. So to convert this space into what the music industry really needs is about a $2.4 million capital campaign. And that's everything from adding technical equipment to we have to add about 30 more washrooms to the space to make it accommodate that larger audience. And then the building's over 150 years old. So we've got a lot of just changes that have to be made to get it up to modern code and to make it a really fully equipped space for the music industry and for all the other groups that use it. We've had some really great food events here. We've had different craft events, events with the LGBTQ2S+ community, a whole host of different things. So that's the driving force behind the campaign, the Do Well by Hamilton campaign. And we chose that moniker because so much of what New Vision is about is supporting all sorts of different marginalized communities, but also wanting to support the larger community in Hamilton. And so we've got these sort of 6 priority areas that we feel we do well by and that this venue does well by. So that was the driving force behind that campaign.
Yeah. Did you want to touch on the 6 priorities?
Sure, if I can remember them all.
Maybe just a few of them.
Yeah, so I mean, a few of them. So I mean, like every cultural venue, and we help build venues all across the province of different sorts, is a real big driver for economies in their area. So there's a tool. So one of our impact areas is the local economy. And through a tool developed by the province, this facility, when it's up and running, will have about a $5 million economic spin-off out into the community. So that's transit and restaurants and retail nearby from the people that come here and have a great time. New Vision as a faith community is really dedicated to working with marginalized communities. So that's everything from BIPOC members of the community, the LGBTQ2S+ community, those living in financial precarity. So they already do things like have a food bank and have regular outreach programming where people come and get a meal. Throughout COVID, they've been acting as the home for the caremongering group that's been doing lots of amazing work around food with marginalized communities. And we've been home to a resting center for the city for 120 days now. So there are all sorts of those communities, but then also adding on that cultural layer of wanting to have real impact in the art scene here in Hamilton that's been growing and growing for a couple of decades and is now really in need of a space like this, which has been on the City of Hamilton's economic development strategy for about 10 years to have another facility of this scale added to the course so that we can both attract amazing talent that's coming from other cities, but also the talent that's growing up here as they grow up through the different venue sizes in Hamilton. There's a real gap at about the size we are, so that they can be earning a living, being musicians, theater artists, comedians, whatever it might well be.
Yeah, that's amazing. I guess you don't really think, like when you automatically think about it, you think of all the talent that can come to the music hall, but you don't think about the impact that it can have on the area and the spread out and the benefit that it can provide economically to everyone around. So That's great.
We talk a lot in our work about like the ecology of the cultural
Mhm.
scene, and so we've done a lot of research on it here and in other cities. And Hamilton's very typical city of our size, that we've got a lot of venues that are 100, 200, 300 seats. We've got a couple that are about 500 or 600 seats,
Mhm.
and then we have this huge gap where the next place you can land is at Hamilton Place, which is
Yeah.
2,000 seats. So if you think of someone like Caribou or Tara Lightfoot or Tom Wilson or the Arkells, as they were growing up through their musical growth, they hit a wall here and
Mhm.
had to go to other places. So it'd be really amazing to have a stage in town that can support our artists that are at that caliber and ready to grow.
Yeah, there's a real place for it within the community. So how has the campaign been doing so far? I guess you're a little over 3 months into it now.
Yeah, we're a few months in. We originally were going to launch our campaign in March, and
Okay.
then
So
COVID hit.
yeah.
So I mean, it's been a challenge. We thought for a long time before we did the relaunch in September, knowing that we're still in this weird COVID time, and that not everyone's working. You know, some people are having a
Mhm.
tough time. Um, we were excited to have the opportunity to launch with the Shift Festival out of McMaster as sort of um, our our little party to launch us out into that world.
Mhm.
It's been going relatively well. I think we're about 25,000 in, but we've just started the portion of the campaign that goes out to sort of the corporate world.
Okay.
So we've got that stuff going now. We've got an amazing team of volunteers who are championing that. So Ian Brisbane's the chair of our capital campaign team. We're also doing a lot of grant writing. So we've got a grant going into the city, into the Trillium Foundation, and a number of others. And then a big portion of that 2 million is what's called impact investing. So big foundations have shifted into this world of doing impact investing. They'll provide a below market loan to an organization like this that's going through a big renovation project.
Okay.
So about 1 million of that is planned to come through that, and that's coming together. I think probably early in the new year we'll be in a place to talk about where that's landed. So it's going all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, one thing I did want to talk about, kind of going off of the fundraising side of it, is you guys have received your biggest contribution by Barter Pay It Forward Foundation. So,
Yeah.
can you kind of explain a little bit more about that and how what they've promised to do within the donation?
For sure, yeah. So Barter Pay is a local but now national, started in Hamilton but is now national trade network. So if you think about sort of the old school way of bartering, where I'd give you a goat and you'd give me some fresh eggs or something, they've taken that concept but kind of exploded it in that I might not need eggs, So they've become this formalized network where you, as a supplier of anything, can say, this is what I make, this is what I provide, this is the service I do, and you can access my services with barter credits instead of cash.
Okay.
And if we're in this strange rebuilding economy, things like bartering, I think, are going to become really important. And so someone could access my services and pay me with barter credits, but I don't have to use that to then buy their service. I can take that and use it to buy someone else's. So what Barter Pay It Forward has done is created this like formalized network for bartering of anything you can think of, basically.
Hmm.
So they do a lot of work to support charities. So they've come forward and given us a matching campaign of up to $250,000 in their system. So for every dollar someone donates, whether it's buying one of our albums or making a cash donation or dedicating a seat, that goes into the tally, and that we've got 90 days to raise as much as we can and use that matched money in the barter system. So, a company that does any of the things we're doing in our renovations, so electrical, bathroom repair, HVAC systems, new carpet, any of those sorts of things, we could then use those trade dollars to go and work with local companies that are willing to work on that trade system. So if it works out well, it's about 10% of our budget, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited to see whether we can kind of activate that network to be a part of this project.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then even in a way, you get to help out other local companies, especially in this time.
For sure, and especially when we're in this strange economy of there probably being lots of products sitting in
Mhm.
warehouses and things. It's like, well, this is an opportunity to get some of that stuff moving and start creating transactions in the local economy that we know are really going to be important in our sort of recovery from COVID process. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So then I guess my last question for you is where can people go to find out more information and to donate?
yeah, they can go to dowellbyhamilton.ca. It's the website, and you can go there and learn all about the different elements of the project and all the people involved. But you can go make a donation, and we've got a pile of like really super cool perks for this campaign. So we've got a double album of all music from Hamilton musicians with cover artwork by a local Indigenous artist, Dope Chief. We have a T-shirt designed by Kayla Whitney, who's a wonderful local designer. We have a stunning print by a local Cuban Canadian artist, Hulu Frere of the building. So there's cool perks you can buy if you want, and those count too. Or you can just make a donation right to the project. And there's also information there on how companies can put their name on different rooms and all that sort of stuff as bigger corporate donors.
Yeah, well, it sounds amazing. I can't wait to eventually use it down the line.
We'll have
And
you back for a
yeah,
show sooner
yeah.
than you can imagine. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I learned a lot, so it was great to hear.
Good. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That was Jeremy Freiburger talking about the music hall Do Well by Hamilton campaign. To learn more about the campaign, you can click the link below. As always, for more Morning File interviews, you can visit cfmu.ca/videos.